Hello, my name is Daniel Windham, and I'm a graduate student in the Library Science program at the University of North Carolina at Greensboro. My main interest within that field is reference and instructional technology and teaching. Today I'm going to be doing a PowerPoint review of a woman by the name of Norris that my group went to do research on to figure out what makes a great library manager. And this PowerPoint will kind of give a good review of what we learned, what we didn't learn, and what should be improved upon if we ever had to go back and do it again. And we'll go ahead and get started now. This is our first slide, which is the introduction. Within that, we're going to take a look at everything that's going to be presented in this PowerPoint. The first slides will be the method of research, so how we went about researching this project. The next couple of slides will be about the library administrator, telling us about Norris, her educational background, and why she became a branch manager and how she feels about it. Our after action report, which is kind of common business lingo, where we kind of take a look at everything we did and analyze our mistakes and figure out what we would do next time to overall improve this assignment. And then, of course, we'll have our conclusion. Okay, so something that was really neat about researching with this project is technology gave us a strategic opportunity to get work done in the quickest way possible. Granted that we already had groups set up within this class itself, it gave us the ability to form our team quickly and not have to look around and do mass emails, which I've had to do for other classes before, as I'm sure you have too. And obviously, as I stated before, we were able to utilize like Google Documents and chat and things like that in order to communicate at a much more rapid pace than I have done previously in other classes that involved group work, where we always set up times to meet, and often there were conflicts in schedule. Now, a key part of this assignment, of course, was an interview with a professional librarian administrator. And so the first thing we did was think about what kind of questions we wanted to ask her and where we could pull questions from. And of course, a good deal of our questions were based on the work of Raving Fans by Ken Blackard, First Break All the Rules, and by Marcus Buckingham, and Primal Leadership by Daniel Goleman. This was all required reading for our textbook, and of course that's why it was mandated in the actual assignment information that we ask about the 1/3 rule and things of that nature. Of course, in the first week of class, we were asked to talk about our professional development skills and what we've done within the workplace that involved leadership, and that's also where some of our questions came from. Brandon had a wealth of experience because at one point he was a high school teacher and he had already managed a Pizza Hut. Samantha Smith, I didn't get direct information about her previous career field before getting into an interest in library science, but I know that she organized all of our questions and did a great job of filtering repeats and things of that nature, so she definitely must have a great organizational experience. Jeff was a student teacher for high school, and that involves responsibilities, I'm sure, of grading papers and good time management skills. And personally for myself, I've had a lot of retail training where I've had to do kind of on-the-job training for new associates, and I was just kind of thrown into it and excelled pretty well. Norris became the branch manager of both the Lincoln and Houston branch libraries of Greensboro, North Carolina in 2008. She's an outstanding example of a great library career. Because of the vast experience she has had, her advice to leadership within a library could be brought to bear in almost any chosen career field of library science, with the exception of archives. She has worked in a public library, a school library, a technical college, and in a community college library. Norris also has a high academic standing for her management position. While earning her bachelor's degree, she minored in library science and later went on to get her master's in library science. As the previous slide indicated, as the branch manager of 2 different libraries, Norris has to double her administrative work, no doubt a staggering task. She has both daily tasks that she prioritizes, followed by her administrative work. Administratively, she does the hiring and managing for both libraries, supervises that both buildings are maintained, and makes sure the budget is being dispersed correctly. She also works on the planning and implementation of library programs, marketing and preparing reports for the stakeholders, being your library patron, and of course the taxpayers for Guilford County and the state of North Carolina. But Norris has stated that above her administrative work and her daily tasks, customer service is the #1 priority. As Norris said herself, I want every customer at the library to have a good experience that will make them come back and that will make them tell others about their good experience. And that is a real key for the survival of public libraries as an institution, is that if the first person visits has a good experience, they'll hopefully tell their friends to utilize that library again so they can enjoy it just as well. This improves the amount of patrons that you have, and patrons are your raving fans of your libraries, and they're going to be the stakeholders with the largest political support that you can depend on when it comes to budgets or dealing with any other crisis in government or things of that nature. Of course, we asked Norris about the 1/3 rule of management, and that 33%, the theory being that out of a whole day, 33% of your day should be put on administrative work, 33% should be put on your customers, and 33% should be put on your internal customers, which I consider labor, people who deliver your books, for instance, your library clerks, your full-time faculty, anyone you pay some sort of funds to in order for them to complete a task that is vital for the survival of your institution. Anyways, when we asked her about the 1/3 rule, she says it does not apply to the daily reality of management, and her theory on it basically was that it sounds like a great idea, but on a day-to-day kind of level, a plan like this will never work because some things will always have to be prioritized over others. Like, you might have a day where you're trying to work on administrative services, setting up flyers for marketing for a children's reading event, but unfortunately at the same day one of your newer employees can no longer get the computer to work, so she can't check out books. Therefore, you're going to have to actually put maybe like 60% of your day on your actual labor, and then use the other 30% just to simply finish up the flyers. Norris, like authors Buckingham and Goldman, who I covered earlier in the PowerPoint, see proper leadership and management as linked together. She answered this question when posted to her as such. Leadership is the ability to guide, inspire, and motivate to attain a stated goal. Management is the ability to attend and accomplish events and issues. To attain a stated goal, I feel the two are intertwined. When I quantify the two, I feel that good leaders are good managers, and good managers are good leaders. Also, when it came to leadership and proper management, Norris honed in on the importance of compassion, referencing it many times during the interview. Her need to highlight compassion as a positive value in management and leadership is something important to consider. Goldman highlights compassion as an important skill for emotionally intelligent leaders, writing that emotionally intelligent leaders spread emotions in the positive register. By being attuned to how others feel in the moment, a leader can say or do what's appropriate, whether it be to calm fears, prevent anger, or join in good spirits. So if compassion is a key tool, it needs to be for customers. You need to be able to understand their concerns and questions and be able to react to them positively and not in a negative term, and really have an enthusiasm for what you're doing. You need to have compassion for your employees, which means you need to be able to emphasize and understand that they have a life, of course, outside of that building, and certain days they simply just aren't going to perform as well, and there are times to be critical and times not to, and you have to have compassion for yourself, and you have to be enthused about what you're doing overall, and take care of yourself so you can lead well. Comparing and contrasting our readings to our interview with Norris is kind of difficult because the questions we asked her based on what we read in class and had from online discussions did not give the critical response that as a group we were all hoping for, but nevertheless that doesn't mean our reading was completely different from what she said in the interview. For example, her dedication to customer service and prioritizing that above all of her tasks, even though that went against the 33% rule, is definitely something that I really feel was weighed in upon in raving fans when he mentions to Charlie that you need to figure out what the customer wants and then go out of your way to deliver it with a little bit extra each time. And then another key theme that was part of primary leadership was her making it a point to be able to lead with compassion, and of course leading with compassion means being able to understand what your customers want and be enthused to help them get what they want. And from a management perspective, it means understanding and emphasizing that your employees have many other things going on in their lives besides work itself. So despite her kind of lukewarm responses to the 12 questions and things of that nature, they still what she covered combined with our readings, just in a more roundabout, less direct way. Of course, for myself, I did a little after-action report and kind of thought about everything that I did with the assignment, and these are the faults I found in some major issues. Is because we didn't actually do a video recording of her, and I was not present during the interview, and it was just sent by email, which saved us a lot of time. I was unable to gauge her responses because I had no physical reactions to the questions that we posed to her, so it was kind of hard to tell what she liked and what she didn't like, and how she responded to each individual question, which I could have wrote about and actually worked into my paper itself. Another big problem was there was a long response time given the urgency to complete this assignment, which threw us off course from our final completion date. It was due, I think, October 6th. We did not know it was due October 2nd. The original assignment was, and we did not receive her responses until 1 a.m. on Sunday, October 1st. As far as an interviewee, one of my major concerns is that for her 4 years of being a branch library manager and working at all those subsequent libraries, she said that she has never had to fire anyone. So there's a distinct possibility that she lets someone else approach this unenjoyable task, doubling the burden for those involved in that transaction of information. So as a manager, she might lack some confrontational abilities, but this does not make her a bad manager, but it might show a critical weakness that she might want to consider improving on. Overall, this doesn't make her a bad manager by any means. It's just something I noticed and was kind of concerned about. So anyways, overall, this assignment gave me major benefits educationally and professionally. Educationally, doing this interview gave me a clear understanding of what we covered in our reading and how that links up to aspects of actually running a business on a day-to-day level. A good example of that I covered earlier was Norris's emphasis on compassion and how that was a key to primal leadership, one of the books we covered in our class. Professionally, it gave me the opportunity this assignment gives me the opportunity to capitalize on mistakes that I made previously, such as not actually being present for the interview. If I had to go back and do this again, I certainly am going to be present for it. Also, it taught me that maybe we need to reach out to more than just one person for a research assignment of this nature in case they take too long to follow up with us. So overall, despite our setbacks with my group and my own personal presentation, this was a good assignment. Well, that was my PowerPoint presentation. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I look forward to now moving along and checking out some of your guys's. Have a good day. Bye.